Good afternoon. It's my honor as Deputy Director of the MIT Energy Initiative to welcome you today to this annual MIT Earth Day Symposium. We're delighted today to have a very special guest to speak with us, Governor Deval Patrick. Throughout his years of leadership, the Governor has championed clean energy technologies and has shown the true value of using these technologies to build our economy and help mitigate the effects of climate change. At the Energy Initiative, we've had the pleasure of working with the Governor's Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, led by Secretary Richard Sullivan, who's here today with us. As is Commissioner for Energy Resources, Mark Sylvia, and Undersecretary for Energy, Barbara Cates-Garnick. Welcome. As part of MIT's Independent Activities period that we host every January, we held a series of events this year co-hosted with Undersecretary Cates-Garnick. These included a panel of administration officials and MIT faculty discussing the latest science, technology, and policy research surrounding climate change and actions the state is taking to combat it, as well as a showcase of the work of MIT students researching this topic. I hope the collaboration has been as fruitful to the state as it has been for MIT, and we look very much forward to continuing the collaboration. With that, I'd like to introduce MIT's president, Raphael Reif. I know that Raphael is only able to join us briefly this afternoon, but I'd like to invite him to say a few words to introduce the governor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Bob, thank you for the introduction. And let me just say publicly, thank you for the tremendous leadership you've given to MIT. Much appreciated. Before I introduce Governor Patrick, I'd like to say something which is in everybody's mind. I want to say to the governor, thank you for the tremendous leadership he has given to the state in the last period during his tenure, but also particularly the last 10 days have been very difficult days. There is a great deal to learn about having a calm, reassurance leadership, and I'm doing my very best to learn from that as well. I also want to thank you, Governor, for attending the Brickfield Memorial service yesterday, and I saw you at the Tuesday family service as well, so again, much appreciated. I want to recognize another champion of the environment in the neighborhood, and that's our mayor, the mayor of Cambridge, Henrietta Davis. Henrietta, are you here somewhere? Thank you for joining us. 5 years ago, the governor came to give a colloquium in a lecture series similar to this one, and he gave us an inspiring message. He said then that the Commonwealth could improve its environment and its economy at the same time. And he said it could do so by focusing on energy efficiency and by focusing on clean energy innovation. That was 5 years ago. 5 years later, he actually did all of it. He passed the Green Communities Act. He passed the Green Jobs Act. He led the passage of the Massachusetts Global Warming Solutions Act with very ambitious emission reduction targets, which are now nationwide targets. And today, 5 years later, Massachusetts ranks first in the nation in state-level energy efficiency. The Commonwealth has installed more than 300 megawatts of solar and wind capacity. The pollution and emissions are declining. The clean energy jobs are increasing. And Massachusetts, thanks to his leadership, has shown that indeed we can have a strong economy and a healthy environment. So with that, please welcome Governor Deval Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Reif, for the very warm welcome, and to you and Bob and all the folks at Mighty, to the mayor. Thank you for coming today, or leaving. See you coming or going. As I'm glad I got to acknowledge you on your way out. I want to acknowledge my team at the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. Secretary Sullivan is down here in front, as are the Undersecretary and Commissioner and the Assistant Secretary, and lots of them. And by the way, they are the first ones who stood up, so I totally understand and thank them for encouraging the standing ovation. At the outset, I want to acknowledge last week's tragedies and the grief that they have caused to the whole MIT community. Yesterday's tribute to Officer Sean Collier was really beautiful and fitting. I hope it will provide some comfort to his family, to his friends and colleagues, and to every member of this community. One shining remnant of this experience has been the reemergence of a very strong sense of community, the notion of common stake and common cause. Whether the bravery of our first responders, the supreme professionalism of our medical teams, or the acts of random kindness by ordinary citizens, our strength of community has been on display for the world, and most of all for each other. And I just want to ask everyone to hold on to that. I'm convinced that there isn't a single challenge that we face in the state or in this country that can't be surmounted by a renewed sense that we have a stake in each other's dreams and struggles as well as our own. And with that, happy Earth Day, belatedly. I didn't fully realize until Dr. Reif's introduction that I was here for basically to get my grade after 5 years' work. 5 years ago, as you know, we in Massachusetts took a fresh look at our energy future. Energy in Massachusetts has long been relatively costly or more expensive, with no oil, coal, or natural gas of our own. We're at the end of the pipeline and are subject to the whims of a global energy market. We bear the economic and environmental costs associated with finding, extracting, and transporting fuels from all corners of the world. So in 2008, we moved 3 pieces of legislation to help move us toward a clean energy future. First, the Green Communities Act enabled us to set ambitious goals for renewable energy: 250 megawatts of solar by 2017 and 2,000 megawatts of wind by 2020. Mind you, the Commonwealth produced just 3 megawatts of each when I took office. We also took the green revolution to the grassroots level, working with cities and towns to incentivize energy efficiency and clean alternatives, reducing our energy consumption one municipality, one business, and one resident at a time. Second, the Global Warming Solutions Act authorized us to drive toward long-term goals to address climate change. We set out on a path to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 25% below 1990 levels by 2020, and at least 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. And third, the Green Jobs Act established the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center to be sure that while we invest in energy efficiency and renewables, we are capturing the opportunities to foster innovation and create jobs. We spend billions every year to buy energy, and 80% of that spend goes out of Massachusetts. With the world in the midst of an energy revolution, we were convinced that if we got this right, the whole world would be our customer. We saw economic and environmental imperatives, formed a comprehensive plan, and put these 3 pieces of legislation in place to execute that plan, and I'm here to report that it is working. The American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy has ranked Massachusetts the #1 state in energy efficiency for 2 consecutive years, ahead of longtime leader California. This is a direct result of the Mass Save program, our coordinated effort with the Commonwealth's utilities, residents, and business owners to reduce energy costs and consumption with common sense measures like efficient home heating and insulation. We invest more than 80% of the proceeds from the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative back into energy efficiency. That matters. We require utilities to offer nation-leading programs and incentives for their customers to help their homes and businesses run on less. Remember, I told you that Massachusetts produced 3 megawatts of solar energy when I took office. Well, we installed more than 100 megawatts of solar power last year alone, ranking us 6th last year in total capacity added. Of our 351 cities and towns, 342 today have at least one solar installation. We will reach our goal, our 2017 goal of 250 megawatts, way ahead of schedule. And we're getting the jobs from it as well. The 2012 Solar Foundation Jobs Report ranks Massachusetts 4th in the nation in total jobs in the sector, and we have more than 200 solar installation companies operating in the Commonwealth today. Indeed, the clean energy sector is one of the fastest growing in our Commonwealth. There are nearly 5,000 clean energy firms in Massachusetts today employing some 72,000 people, an impressive 11.2% growth in jobs in just the last year. Wind is an alternative we have encouraged as well. Nantucket Sound is poised to become home to the nation's first offshore wind farm, and Charlestown is today home to the largest indoor wind blade testing facility in the world. And this means more jobs. The U.S. Department of Energy projects 20,000 jobs by 2020 in offshore wind. Why not host those jobs here in Massachusetts? And alongside the growth of our clean and alternative energy sector, we are protecting open space. Why? Because we see that as a companion part of environmental stewardship. As of last summer, we had protected over 100,000 acres of land, 100,987 acres to be exact. That's more than 50 acres every day since I took office, and a Massachusetts record. Working together with conservationists, environmentalists, residents, and local leaders, we have increased the amount of protected space by 25% to 1.25 million acres since 2000, and for the first time exceeded the amount of land that is developed in the Commonwealth. Our land and park legacy has touched every corner of the state as well, from Provincetown to Sheffield, and includes many, many urban parks as well. We have much to be proud of and much still to learn. But the point is that we are not leaving a better and brighter future to chance. We are choosing growth, investing today in a sustainable tomorrow. And that means not letting up. It also means thinking ahead to what's next. We see water innovation as the next opportunity for Massachusetts to seize. After a trade mission to Israel, we began working with a host of international partners to further develop the existing water innovation cluster here in the Commonwealth. The same concentration of brain power in this and other world-class universities and research facilities that spawned and feeds the life sciences and high-tech revolution in Massachusetts is at the center of this next big push in water innovation. The Massachusetts Clean Energy Center is working to do government's part in cultivating this sector and the economic and environmental benefits for the next generation. Meanwhile, Secretary Sullivan has launched a new web tool to engage citizens in monitoring, measuring, and ultimately contributing in personal ways to the work of cutting carbon emissions. I've asked the Secretary and his team to take a fresh look at the incentives that have so successfully grown the solar industry in Massachusetts and expand our solar carve-out program to ensure certainty for the financing world, affordability for consumers, and stability for the market. We have expanded our Solarize Mass program to allow all of the Commonwealth cities and towns to participate. Earlier this month, we selected 10 communities from Williamstown to Bourne for the current round. These municipalities will work with us to reduce costs for residents and businesses on solar. Construction has started at the New Bedford Marine Commerce Terminal. That will serve as a high-capacity port equipped to handle large industrial and marine cargo, and will be America's first purpose-built facility for the assembly, construction, and deployment of offshore wind projects. Everyone else is in a race for second. So we are not letting up. There is much more to do, and as I said, much more to learn. We will all have to increase the pace of innovation and also our tolerance for failure as we try new things and new ways to be the best stewards of our environment and of our economy. Sitting still and waiting for the future to happen to us is not a formula for leadership or for success. And we will have to continue to work together, all of us. In that spirit, let me thank the many here who have coached, counseled, and partnered with me and my team on these many initiatives. I do want to ask Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs Rick Sullivan and all of our commissioners and undersecretaries and secretaries, assistant secretaries to stand and be recognized. Where we lead the nation, it's because of them. Stand up. Thank you very, very much. Whether we like it or not, there will be winners and losers in clean energy in the 21st century. The winners will be those, I believe, who did everything they could to be ready for change and created an atmosphere for and a culture of innovation. Thanks to you and many, many others, Massachusetts is ready. Let's not let up at all. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So thank you again, Governor Patrick. It's a wonderful talk, and congratulations again on your A+ for this 5 years. If you would, please join us out in the lobby and outdoors. It's a beautiful day out there for ice cream. So thank you very much for coming.